Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. How is everybody doing? Oh, you like my thumbnail? You like that? Let me see. This damn camera is like all over the place. Hey, everybody. I did have to start a little bit early, so I'm just going to wait for people to get in here. Notifications are out. Hopefully, maybe they didn't get notified. I don't know, man. I don't know. But let me tell you what's going on. So while I was doing this, then um, the two angry, disgruntled men podcast, two angry the Angry Men podcast, then dropped their video. And I was like, all right, so I could do two things here. I can do a review of Nancy Grace's video on a pre-recorded, or I can do a review of the Two Disgruntled Men podcast on a pre-recorded. So I put up a poll and you guys go vote. Y'all want me to do Nancy Grace? Okay. But Nancy Grace's video, I have an hour. So it's like really long. We're going to cut some. I'm not going to go all the way in, but just the main points. I mean, I feel like I've summarized, or at least I have some pretty good notes written already on this Nancy Grace video. You already watched Nancy Grace? Okay, well, go vote. So I'm giving you guys maybe 2 minutes to go vote and let me know. Hopefully people will get in here. We only have 78 people, so hopefully people will get in there. Y'all like that thumbnail? At least I know what I would look like as a blonde. Yeah. You know what, Tina? I have heard this. This is like the third comment today. So when I said yesterday that I was going to review it, this is the third comment that I have heard. Hey, Franny Law, how are you? I hope you're doing well. This is the third comment that I've heard that people felt like Nancy Grace didn't know what she was talking about. What did she get wrong? She's been reviewing this case for a while. So what did she get wrong? I guess I'm confused. Hey, everybody, come through, come through. Thank you. Yes, absolutely, tequila, absolutely. Hey, Pinche Becky, thank you for your email, by the way. I got it. Thank you, love. I love it when Rabbit does commentary on Nancy. Nancy Grace drives me crazy, y'all. That's the thing is like, I mean, it's like, it's hard to watch, okay? I'm just being honest. You said, I'm decorating for Christmas. Nancy Grace, if gonna ruin my Christmas vibe, but I have to watch Mine's y'all. It's like, don't do it. If those Christmas decorations come out all crazy, don't blame Nancy Grace, okay? Hey, Ronan. Hey, everybody, y'all. Come through, guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You were so confused. Why? Listen, if Nancy Grace needed to take a break, I think I could totally pull off the wig. And, like I did a face swap. People are like, oh no, that first picture looked crazy, y'all. That first picture just looks off the wall. Like I cannot with that first picture. Let me see if I can pull it. I can't do that first picture because literally, see if I can pull it. Hold up. Posts. Where was it? This one right here. I was like, oh no, this is horrible. Was it this one? While we wait for people to get in here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. For those that are coming through. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. My eye looks deformed. I don't know, man. It just looks so off. I showed it and they were like, no, hold up. See, so when you look at her face, something about her eye, it's like her eye right here that looks, I think it's because it's closed. So it like tweaked my eye too. But then, hold up. See if we can go right to the main one. Let's see. Then we have this one. I was like, oh man, now this one is a little bit different. Yeah, you said that don't look like her. Wait, you say you look like Gina? Yeah, who's that? That's Rabbit. That's Rabbit Karen. Oh my god. Yeah, I was like, they made my eye so small. Oh man, one Nancy Grace is too much. Don't cross over the dark side. Oh man, right? Y'all are funny as hell. All right, guys. Well, do me a favor, hit the like button, please, and thank you. Let me see what the poll is saying. What is the poll saying? Are we doing Nancy Grace or are we doing the two disgruntled men? Nancy Grace for the win. Nancy Grace for the win. All right. Polls is close now. So, yeah. All right. Wait. Yeah, Nancy Grace is for the win. Okay. So let's get into this Nancy Grace video. I will do a pre-recorded on a reaction to the two disgruntled men podcasts, okay? So a couple things here. And I was really looking into like the key main points because I think that I don't know if it's like the editing process or what when it comes to the video. It just goes all over the place sometimes. And Nancy can kind of, she becomes a little too much. So a couple things to highlight is they talk about a key witness who's refusing to testify, which we know that that's the case here in this situation. We don't know more information about that, but apparently she's refusing to testify. People have alleged that this is a key witness in D4VD's camp. What does this key witness know? We don't know. Okay. They believe that her testimony is very crucial to this case. So they'll probably, Nancy talks about how she'll put a body attachment to just about anybody. And also how officially he is now a verified suspect. So let's go back a little bit. When they go to the panel, we'll start right here.
A witness, unless they're going to land in jail, criminally charged themselves, cannot take the Fifth Amendment.
I get it.
But did you look around? Do you think any of us just fell off the turnip truck? Let's show him who's on the.
Wait. So a witness can't take the Fifth Amendment? See, I'm not well versed. Anybody know? If you are a witness to the grand jury, if you are a witness to the grand jury, I can't do a Fifth Amendment? I'm typing it up. Or can I plead the Fifth? Why can't I do that? I thought you could. Yeah, I'm like, so what's the issue? Why did she say that? Hold up. Let me go back a little bit. Maybe there it is.
By the police. If you do not, it is a criminal act. And it's 152.3 of our penal code. The problem is that it's only a 6-month misdemeanor for a recalcitrant witness not to come forward or to notify police. So there's really no teeth in the law. Now, having said that, anybody who doesn't want to
put him up,
they can.
Hey, look around you. Look around you. Yeah. Are you at your office or your luxury home? Where are you right now?
I'm in a studio.
Okay. Do you want to trade off your fancy office, which I've heard all about, or your very sophisticated pad and go sit in the pokey for 6 months? It may mean nothing to you, but I doubt a record executive or anybody else wants to go sit on a metal bench for the next 6 months.
Okay.
So that's what a contempt charge will get you.
Yeah, and I don't understand why, at a minimum, they just don't take the Fifth. If you don't want to answer questions or you think you're going to be incriminated.
Okay, so that's what he says. I don't understand why, at the minimum, they don't want to plead the Fifth. Okay.
At a minimum.
What are you saying? The witness is not taking the Fifth. People that are going to be charged or have criminal culpability, they're the only ones that can take the Fifth. The Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent, guaranteed under our Constitution. A witness, unless they're going to land in jail, criminally charged themselves, cannot take the Fifth Amendment.
I get it.
But did you look around? Do you think any of us just fell off the turnip truck? Let's show him who's on the panel. Philip Dubé obviously is with us, high profile.
She said the turnip truck, and then somebody in the chat said that they're in a turnip truck watching me. Who's watching me? We sitting over here on the back of our turnip truck watching Rabbit. Don't fall off of it. Oh my God. Thank you. Y'all hit the like button, please, and thank you. Jeez. Here's the deal. It's like, why do these professionals go in there and then they get ripped to shreds? Like, I cannot.
A lawyer out of LA, this jurisdiction, Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, renowned psychoanalyst out of LA, Rob Dick, private investigator, Dr. Kendall Crowns, chief medical examiner, Tarrant County, Alexis Tereszchuk. She's probably covered more cases than many lawyers have ever tried, and Dave Mack, who is joining us remote. We all know that only a defendant can take the Fifth. So the witness absolutely can be thrown in jail. And I've got to tell you, I've done it myself,
Ooh.
except it was a victim. Now, this is what happened. It was a little girl victim who was afraid to testify in a case, and she disappeared the night before trial. I was up the entire night, 5 a.m. My investigator, Ernest, found her, and I said, arrest her. We did not put her in jail. We put her in a nice hotel, and he stayed with her outside the door until the time for her testimony, brought her to the courthouse. She testified.
Oh, this was a victim, right? She's talking about a victim that they had to arrest on a separate case, clearly.
And then we drove her wherever she wanted to go. But she was in our custody.
Oh my.
I don't like arresting victims, but a witness? Oh, yeah, totally. I would absolutely arrest a witness that wouldn't testify for the state.
You know, when I was a new attorney and I needed witnesses in, we had the capability of getting body attachments for witnesses who defaulted. And one time I had to haul a priest in. The next morning, they had him in the lockup with the collar and the whole thing, and we went off on each other. You would have never known that that man was a man of the cloth. But I needed him in, and I had the court issue a body attachment, and they hauled him in. Now, having said that, I don't know what this witness's counsel is doing out there, other than maybe looking like a potted plant. But you would think that that lawyer would get on the phone to that witness and say, look, you're at a minimum looking down the barrel of a misdemeanor for not reporting this thing. At least come in. If we think you're going to be incriminating yourself for failing to report, we can take the fifth. But don't default on the subpoena, because if you do, you're only making things worse for yourself.
You know, the lawyer for the witness, the female witness, and let me tell you, a female prison, a female jail is no cakewalk. The big dollhouse ain't all that. You ever been in a ladies' prison? It's just as bad as a men's prison. Nobody wants to go there. What?
Oh, it's a snake pit. It's a snake pit. It is.
So the same lawyer, Dubé, is representing.
Hold up. And just so you guys know, I'm trying to put my Nancy Grace picture up here because people are asking, where's Rabbit Grace? Hold up. I'm going to put it up. Okay. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to do it right now. All right. So that's why I'm looking at my phone.
The record executive, who is also D4VD, David Anthony Burke's manager. The record exec is Burke's manager, and he is the one. So this lawyer, Evan Jennis, is representing both of them. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest or not, but that's a civil issue. But she's on the lam. She's refusing to rat. The LA law
By the way, I said the same thing. I was like, how does that work that they're all, but okay.
enforcement is looking for her right now. Have fun with that rancid tuna fish sandwich for lunch, lady. Also, I want to get back to the record exec. He actually says, well, yeah, I knew about her body being found in my client's car, but I didn't think it was my responsibility to call police. I just wanted to get on with the tour. So forget about the little girl rotting in the trunk. That's basically what he said, Dubé.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if that young lady, that child, was under 14 at the time, and he had knowledge of either a murder or a, that is incriminating for him not to report it. It actually creates a legal duty, as I said earlier, upon him to report it. And if he doesn't, he faces the pains of a 6-month misdemeanor.
Wait. So in California, I mean, that makes sense, right? But that's also that would be a misdemeanor to not to report if he knew, if that's the case that he knew, not if we just don't know the context of that when that was released. Keep that in mind. We have no idea what that actually meant when that information was released.
Now, having said that, the law requires that he actually observe it as opposed to have knowledge of it. So I would absolutely defend him on it.
No. You're talking about the record exec. He didn't observe anything but himself in the mirror. The person that is under threat of arrest is the female. Hold on just a moment. Let me go to you, Dave Mack. Let's clarify. Dave Mack joining me along with Alexis Tereszchuk. Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter.
Oh, man.
Dave Mack, the person that's getting arrested is the female witness. And I'm betting that it's somebody that lives in that house that basically shacks up in there and knows what happened.
Yep.
Nancy, we were given a huge clue on this a couple of weeks ago when in some of our reporting, it was that the police had run that search warrant inside the house, and they were able to determine which person in that house had been sleeping in which room. Remember, they talked about how D4VD had this very tight inner circle. Well, there are 3 or 4 people that were with him constantly and stayed in that house with him. One of those people.
Guys, everybody is eating off of D4VD. Like all these artists and stuff. I mean, he was making everybody money. You think it's accessory to charges? Well, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how more people aren't as far as we know, we heard that there was suspects. We don't know as much information. Yeah, I got my Nancy picture up there, y'all. You said, I believe when it comes to murder, the law is different from a mandated reporter. From mandated reporters? Huh. I swear is turning on herself. You said, I swear she is turning herself into a cartoon character. I'm sure he has been granted immunity. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, are these people just testifying without like getting immunity? I don't know who would do that, but okay.
People, I guarantee you, is a female that they're trying to get in court. There was also another tip that we had, and it goes back to when they said he had help. That whoever cut up Celeste had help. They went out, remember, on the long drive in the middle of the night, out in the middle of nowhere, had help. So we've got a couple of hints here as to who it is. The scary part of it is that the same attorney representing his manager also represents this unnamed female that they're trying to bring into court to testify in front of the grand jury.
Okay, why do you see that as a problem, Dave Mack? One lawyer can represent two people.
It seems odd to me that you would have other individuals not in the industry that would have the same type of attorney.
Yeah, it's almost like, who's paying for these attorneys? And I mean, maybe they are, kind of figuring it out, cost effective to just have one lawyer do all this in one. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert in that, but I have a lot of questions about that.
LAPD has been working on a timeline of activity for Celeste and Burke, and an insider with the police investigation says they've been able to determine that in the spring of this year, Burke took a secret trip in the middle of the night to a remote area of Santa Barbara County. Burke remained in the area for several hours.
So it's entirely possible that the female witness was along on that trip. We don't know who she is, but she is willing to go to jail rather than testify in front of a grand jury about or against David Anthony Burke, D4VD. To Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, renowned psychoanalyst.
I don't even know why we what would this witness know? So much so that she's so afraid to testify. Like, that's the question that I have. It's like, what do you know? So much so that you're afraid to testify. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like, who would go to jail over not cooperating? I don't know.
Out of the LA jurisdiction, this jurisdiction, author of Deal Breakers. You can see her now on Peacock and find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, what do you think about that?
Nancy, has she ever been a mother, a sister, a daughter, somebody who has loyalty to another woman? This is what I'm wondering.
I honestly think that this witness is could be anybody, but I think it's somebody in their 20s, somebody in that friend group who does not want to testify. I know that we've said, it could be Lainey too. I don't know, but I don't know, man. Who would not want to testify and cooperate? Especially if you can get immunity, or at least that maybe I'm thinking that might have been offered.
About this potential witness, when I have underage patients come into my office who report some type of abuse, there's a maternal instinct that kicks in where I really want to think about how to protect that patient. I'm a mandated reporter. I have to call the authorities to let them know that something nefarious is going on. And who is this female witness that she wouldn't be loyal to another woman? And, Nancy, we're talking about a crime here, but to be honest with you, there was a lot going on leading up to this crime, right? This is a young woman who's living in another man's household with multiple residents in that household. And, I'm thinking about her being brainwashed, her being abused.
Right.
All of that. Who's witnessing all of this and why are they not coming forward?
You know what, Dr. Bethany Marshall, you just said something very important. Let me go back to you, Dave Mack, Crime Stories investigative reporter. A grand jury is usually 16 to 23 people, depends on your jurisdiction, taken from the voter registration logs. And they meet once or twice a week, depending on the size of the jurisdiction. And all they determine is, do we have enough evidence to charge the individual? They're not passing on guilt or innocence. Why is that important? It's important because a grand jury doesn't determine guilt or innocence. All they do is determine, have I heard enough evidence to think this should go to a jury? Is it possible that he did this crime? That's all they're looking at. And then
so to not to want to testify in front of that is very concerning to me. That's what I want to know. Y'all could get it. Can y'all get it together with my picture and my thumbnail? Look at you guys. Oh my gosh, you guys are really killing me in the comments. I'm trying not to laugh because some of the comments are so funny. Maybe it's really his mom. It wouldn't make sense why she's pushing back. They're saying that it's a witness in D4VD's camp. So, and people had also questioned, could it be somebody in Celeste Riva's family? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, it could be, they've been silent too. So I don't know. So I don't think it's the mom. She's too far away from the day to day. In Texas, you mean? Y'all do me a favor and please hit the like button. We're really trying to get this out there in the algorithm. If you have not taken the moment, support the channel, hit the like button, please, and thank you. I'm going to be working on some pre-recorded on the Two Disgruntled Men podcast. So I'll review that later on, so expect a pre-recorded, but do me a favor, hit the like button, please and thank you. Great way to support the channel. And yeah. All right. It's someone that doesn't understand the ramifications of a no-show. It almost makes me wonder if it's a young person. That's why.
They do a yay or nay. That's all it is. Usually a grand jury presentation lasts under 10 minutes per case. You can bring on one witness, typically the lead detective, because in grand jury, hearsay is admissible. The detective can say, well, this witness told me this, and this witness told me that. This is what the medical examiner said. The body was in his car. He was the last one with her. Bam. That's how it works. Then it goes to a petite jury of 12 to decide guilt or innocence. So to you, Dave Mack, we know it's a woman.
Oh.
We know it's someone that's going to testify for the state. There are no defense witnesses at grand juries. So here are our choices. As Dr. Bethany just pointed out, Dave Mack, it could be someone that lived in that home, that knows how Celeste was killed. It could be somebody that moved the car back and forth. Remember, Steve Fisher told us over and over and over. And he knows because he has amassed the Ring doorbell cam from all the neighbors, many of the neighbors, and he knows when the car was moved. He even knows who was moving at one time.
He does. I mean, I don't put that past him or anything like that. That's why I was like, maybe this is why the silent stuff situation is happening with him, Could very well be the case. I think Nancy knows that too.
Okay. Maybe it was a woman that moved the car for D4VD. Maybe it was someone, as you pointed out, Dave Mack, that went on that late night trip into the hills and stayed there for hours and hours. There's speculation she was buried or hidden at one location and then later put in the car trunk. Maybe she was there for the trip. Maybe she moved the car. Maybe she lived in the house. But whatever she knows, Dave Mack, it's damning to David Anthony Burke. And she doesn't want to testify. Who could she be? What does she know, Dave Mack?
Oh,
well, I think it goes back to that very.
Really? Okay. Joe, thank you. That woman may be another person. Maybe could be another young girl. You know what? I didn't know this. Private citizens in California do not have a legal obligation to report murder they learned about. Vicky, really? Private citizens in California. Is there any qualifications to that, Vicky? Like, I didn't know that this was a thing. Like, I thought that everybody was mandated to report if they learned about a murder. Otherwise, it could be accessory to it. Did y'all know that this was a thing? I got to look it up. Now I'm curious. And this could, when you say private citizens, what if it's like an off-duty police officer? Are they considered private citizens? Or I'm just thinking. I had no idea. Wow.
First search warrant, when the police were in the house, they were trying to find out who lives in this house, because we know it's more than just Burke. And the police said they were able to identify, or maybe it was Fisher, but they were able to identify the inside circle, not the people who just travel around with Burke, but we're talking about the people who shared that rented house with him, that had their own area, their own room, their own nightstand. They identified 3 different people, I think. So you've got any one of those who was there on a daily basis, used that house as their own place to live. But also, I believe that person was with Burke in the middle of the night as they went up north to Riverside County, or San Bernardino County, Santa Barbara County, wherever they happened to have been, out in the middle of nowhere, because we were told he was there for several hours. We know they've got this digital footprint. They've got the markings for where they were. And I say they because we're going to assume here that this person they're trying to bring in front of the grand jury knows the details.
Okay, so I looked it up and says, no general duty to report crimes. As a general rule, private citizens are not legally obligated to report crimes they observed or learned about. Wait, they observed and learned about? Even serious ones like murder. Failing to call law enforcement or notify authorities doesn't automatically make you criminally liable under California law. Dang. saying. So an accessory to a crime is someone who intentionally helps with, okay, gotcha. That's right. Even though they are not the main person who committed it. Wow. So he could have seen Celeste being murmured. Other people could have seen the body. It doesn't mean that it makes them liable to report that. I had no idea. Now, there are exceptions to this. There are specific exceptions where the law does require reporting, but they are limited, typically tied to mandated reporters. Because I was like, well, how does that work for mandated reporters? So, like, if somebody in the team was a teacher, a healthcare worker, like mandated reporters, and there was certain kinds of abuse that they might have witnessed, like child abuse or elder abuse. In those cases, failure to report can be a crime because the statute expressly says so. Wow. I just learned something new today. I think that's what it is. You can have witnessed a murder in California and you don't have to report it, but you do set yourself up if you do, or if you don't. I don't think so, Joe. I don't think you would sell yourself up based on what they say. So again, general rule is that if you're a private citizen, you are not legally obligated to report crimes. Okay? Crimes could be all kinds of things. You're not legally obligated to report crimes they've observed or learned about, even serious ones like murder. Failing to call law enforcement or notify authorities doesn't automatically make you criminally liable in California, but there is an exception to it if you're a mandated reporter. That's wow. Okay. Sorry, I learned something. Ronan, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you. If you guys have been gifted, put some hearts in the chat. Thank you, Ronan, for supporting the channel. Thank you. Wow. Okay.
On what took place that night. We've got him driving out, staying in one spot, and driving back. There's one other individual besides Burke that can tell us what happened, and that's who it is. And this person, this female, does not want to do it for whatever reasons. Culpability, I don't know. But that's what we're up against right now.
Well, hold on just a second. I'm going to go to Alexis Tereszczuk on digital information on the female witness, but to Philip Dubé, if she knows about any of the things Dave Mack and I have just identified, did she take that late night trip out into the woods where they stayed out there for hours and hours? Did she move the car? Was she one of the individuals that moved the car? Steve Fisher, I believe, has been told by LAPD to shut his pie hole, and he's not going to state on air who he saw moving the car, but he knows. But the car was moved several times, maybe not.
Even though Nancy tried to grill it and beat it out of him. Okay, so you guys see my picture with that's Rabbit Grace. What do y'all think about that hairdo? If I were to do something like that more permanently, would you guys unsubscribe for me? I'm serious. Would y'all unsubscribe for me if I got like the Nancy style? I just want to know. Are y'all really loyal to me? I just want to, like, if I decide to do the Nancy style, are you guys going to unsubscribe? Just let me know. Okay, let's keep going. All right.
Not by the same person every single time. So why would an individual just go move the car around unless they knew what was in the trunk?
Yes.
She could have lived in the home. She could have gone on that late night trip. She could have moved the car. She could know how Celeste died. Do you think she's not testifying because she thinks she's going to get charged? Because if she's an accomplice, they could go ahead and charge her if they wanted to. They would not be calling her as a witness if she is the target.
Well, here's the thing. Even if that were the case, her counsel can demand that she be immunized. I mean, that's the whole point. If you're a target or you could be a target, then you either take the fifth or you seek immunity. And that's typically what the DAs do if they really want to get the kingpin, if you will. But I really think what's going on here is that this young lady either has intel or she is afraid to dime out the golden goose, if you will.
Why would somebody fail to report or anything like that? First Liberty's podcast says, I will definitely unsubscribe. Well, dang. Why are you hating on her? I'm not. I'm literally just making fun. I'm not hating on her. I think Nancy Grace is somebody who, man, she's a rough one. You know, I don't always agree with her or her tactics, but she's funny. You know, sometimes her commentary's on point. Sometimes I cannot stand her, though. I'll be honest. There's some things where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, but that's just me.
Because he is the cash cow for everybody involved. If he goes to prison, they don't eat. There's an old expression, and that is, if a concert doesn't close, I don't eat. You know, it's like a real estate transaction. You don't close escrow, you don't close the contract, nobody gets paid.
There you
And
go.
let me tell you, he is the golden
Okay,
goose.
can I ask you, Dubé, what good is that?
Didn't we just say that everybody in his circle, it looks like they were really feeding off of, because they were working with him very closely. They were really feeding off of everything that he was providing and, all these people. So yeah, I mean, it benefited them to have him do what he was doing. 5 Divine says whoever it was already advised by his and her lawyers and are confident that the ramifications associated with not testifying are minor to nothing. Interesting. Whoever it is was already advised by his and her lawyers and are confident that the ramifications associated with not testifying are minor to nothing. Yeah, I don't think that yeah, I would agree. I would agree to that for sure.
That money, that golden ticket, that paycheck, that gravy train, what's that going to do for her behind bars in the big dollhouse?
I understand that. A lot of these kids don't have perspective. They live hand to mouth is what it is.
They're not kids. They're in their 20s.
They're in the 20s.
That's a
I
kid
was
to
working
me.
on 3
Okay.
jobs and prosecuting in my 20s. Stop it.
They're not children. We've made them children, but they're not children. They're not. They're in their 20s. I agree.
No, that's a
So
kid
do you
to
think
me.
that's why she's not coming forward? She'd rather get arrested? See, no. If she were a target, she would not be being forced to a grand jury. Her lawyer, who we know who it is, would have already said she wants immunity or she's going to take the fifth. That's not happening.
The severely decomposed, dismembered remains found in a Tesla owned by singer-songwriter David, identified as Celeste Rivas, reported missing more than a year ago, Lake Elsinore, California. She was identified through forensics, and a cause of death has not determined.
All right, let's skip over the commercial. Y'all, if you need financing, go to where Nancy's telling you to go.
Going down in the D4VD David Anthony Burke case, what does it mean as a grand jury meets in secret? Earlier, we were discussing digital evidence. Straight out to Rob Dick joining us, bounty hunter, private investigator, former deputy sheriff, Sacramento County, owner of Renegade Investigations. Rob Dick, thank you for being with us. Philip Dubé, Alexis Tereszchuk, and Dave Mack have brought up a very interesting point. The witness that the prosecution, a female prosecutor, is hell-bent on getting in front of that grand jury may have traveled with David Anthony Burke, may have lived in the home with David Anthony Burke, may have moved that Tesla for him. There's any number of reasons the prosecutor may need this witness, and she will get the witness. Make no mistake about it.
I believe it, man. I have heard so many different things about Beth Silverman. People need I remember, I think I did one of the first videos on YouTube that talked a little bit about her background, but now people are catching up. She is not someone to play with, man. She is not someone to play with, okay?
Even if it takes 6 months for the witness to sit behind bars and stew, she will get the witness. That said, how can digital forensics prove what this witness knows? For instance, her phone. You think she went anywhere without her phone? Not happening. If she was moving that car around, they have that triangulated. If she went on that trip in the middle of the night, you can see her phone traveling along with David Anthony Burke's phone or with his Tesla. It's a Tesla. It's got all sorts of navigation data embedded, right? How can digital forensics nail this witness?
Yes. I mean, there's going to be a complete outline. They'll be able to figure out exactly where every party that was involved went, how long they were there. They're going to be able to track them and completely show who was involved. And one other last thing that I don't think we're bringing up, she may have seen exactly what happened and is afraid that could happen to her.
That is certainly a possibility. Following up on what private investigator Rob Dick just told us.
So the witness might be afraid. Can't they? Isn't there some level of protection for this if you're a witness too? But also if you're offered immunity, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? You said, she said she was working 3 jobs and prosecuting in her 20s. Probably, maybe 20, 25, 26, right? Depending on, oh my God, I stopped at a very awkward place for Nancy. Depending, if she graduated, she went to, you go to college. Okay, you get your 4-year degree and then you transfer, and then you go to your JD program, which is another typically what, 4 years, or depending on what kind of track you're in. Vicky says also, Rabbit, there's no general nationwide duty to report serious crimes, including murder. Simply knowing about a murder and not reporting it is usually not a crime by itself. See, and I think that that's the assumption that a lot of us have. At least I'll speak for me. I think I made that assumption that, maybe they knew and they didn't report it, and so that's why they get in trouble. I'm thinking. But thank you, Vicky, for letting us know.
Joining us now is a digital forensics expert, Scott Eicher. Listen to this. He is a founding member of the FBI Cellular Analysis Survey team.
Okay.
How does it work, Scott?
There's so much digital evidence that we can pull it from computers, we can pull it from cars, we can pull it from phones, we can pull it from iPads, anything, watches, ankle bracelets, anything. So as you get all that data and preserve it with the phone company and then pull it into a massive timeline locating the car, the individual, you can put those things together with this female, with the victim, with the car, at the house. You can build that story and that visual for the jury, a grand jury, to see, yes, these people were there and these people were not.
But how does the triangulation process work? Can it be attacked on cross-examination? Although, of course, Scott, as you know, in a grand jury proceeding, there is no defense attorney. This is not a guilt-innocence phase. This is
the only thing that D4VD during the grand jury, the only thing that he'll get, D4VD, because, it's like their meeting, right, outside of him, is, I think, a transcript of what happened there. And that's basically it. And, of course, if they're going to be returning with any kind of decision, I honestly think that we're literally at that one phase, and my understanding, they can have more than one grand jury. So I don't know, man, as far as waiting period, we might all have to wait.
Just putting evidence to a grand jury to determine is there enough for an actual indictment. So the witness is not going to be cross-examined, but how can triangulation be attacked by the defense? Because I believe from day one, LAPD, please tell me this is true, LAPD, has been amassing cell phone, nav system, all sorts of digital forensics to prove this case. And that means they have to find the witnesses. How are they going to do it? Find out who was in the home. What about a data dump? What about a stingray that could show me whose cell phones were in that home at the time we believe Celeste Rivas was killed?
Oh, okay. Celeste Rivas' phone. You know what? I will be doing a pre-recorded on this. I have not watched the Angry Disgruntled podcast yet, but I promise you I will do it and I'll upload it tonight. It shouldn't take me long to record to it or react to it. You say Garagos thinks we're past the investigative grand jury and now in the indictment phase. Gotcha. I was telling you, I was like, well, what if we find out before the end of the year? I'm predicting this. I'm bad at predicting, but something tells me that we might be there pretty soon.
How would that work, Scott?
Well, let's attack this each different way. Triangulation. And now your thinking first is that you can get a specific point on the earth. Well, it depends on what kind of data that you're getting from the phone company or from a vehicle or whatever. Sometimes it's GPS that needs at least 3 satellites to be able to give you a good point on the earth. You have distance from tower, measurements from cellular towers that can be very accurate if you have multiple towers giving you that data information. And then sometimes, depending on how late you're getting the data, you're just getting at what tower the phone used or the car used or something like that, not how far from the tower. So it really just depends what data they got at that time, because you got to remember they were working a couple weeks behind when the victim's body was found. Now, you had mentioned the stingray. Now, the stingray is actually just a device to locate.
Nancy really thinks that this is Celeste. I don't think that Celeste. She keeps reporting that. I mean, people still believe that that's Celeste up there. I don't think so. The time frame wouldn't make sense.
Where phones are now, not where they were a month ago, 6 months ago.
So I'm not going to be able to use a stingray to get all of the cell phones that were being used in the home on that night. Curious. From clips of David on TikTok. So what are the other possibilities? Well, for one thing, the nav.
So this is why people are coming in my comments when I put that Nancy Grace picture of the panel, that she's got it wrong. A lot of people, you guys came in there and said, she got this wrong. She got this wrong. Is this what you guys are talking about, or is there more?
System on a Tesla. Scott, for a nav system on the Tesla tells you so much. For instance, what, Scott Eicher?
Well, a nav system is very, very accurate on the Tesla. It's GPS, right? And they actually have a cell phone in the car also. So if you can get several different things and all the telematics about the car itself, how fast it was moving, when it was moved, who was in the car based on the cameras. We've seen all of that already, provided, or should have been provided and downloaded from the car. Now, you asked about how do we know who was in the house back in historical time? That's getting tower dumps. That's getting information from the phone companies historically of what phones or devices were in a general area of that residence at that time. Again, it's dependent upon how long the phone company keeps that data, on how specific that data is, and
what did you
hopefully
call that,
there's
Scott?
data that they can, a tower dump.
So you get that from the actual closest cell tower.
Several towers.
Alexis Tereszchuk, there was a key card found in a sewer drain, a drainage outlet near where the Tesla was parked. Okay. This is from Run It Back 777. It was on Reddit. It says Tesla. So that's a key card, we believe, to D4VD's Tesla. Where was that found, Alexis Tereszchuk?
Man, we are going way back. It feels like, I don't know, man. It feels like such a long time at this point. Mags T says on one of her shows, she backpedaled on that one being Celeste. Was it a week or two ago? Gotcha. That's interesting. So we're going back. See, now I understand why people were having an issue. Y'all, Ronan just gifted another 5. My goodness, Ronan, thank you so much for gifting. Oh, it's so sweet of you. Guys, put some hearts in the chat if you've been gifted by Ronan. Thank you, Ronan. People are asking who's the lady on this is the real Nancy Grace. Her name is Rabbit Grace. Okay. That is the real Nancy Grace. You said, I remember that key card. Remember we talked about it? So yeah, like are we going back to that now? Okay.
In a gutter near his Hollywood Hills home on the ground. And so
interesting. So it's closer to his home, Alexis.
Yes, his Hollywood Hills home. Yes, not in Santa Barbara and not at the impound place where her body was found in the car, but near his home.
Interesting, Scott Eicher. That tells me a lot. It tells me that the car was left and the key card to the car was abandoned a distance away. Why? Scott Eicher, what does the key card have to do with the Tesla? What does it do with a Tesla? Why do you need a key card?
Well, initially you need a key card to actually get into the vehicle and then set up the driver's phone to be the actual key. So once you get the key card, you get that from the dealer when you buy the car. Then you set up using the key card to use the phone as the key for the rest of the time you're using the Tesla. And you can set up several different individuals to use that Tesla. And then you can put that key card in a safe place if you need to, and just use the phone. But every once in a while, you'd have to bring that key card out if you're going to add drivers or something to that effect.
Philip Dubay joining us, high-profile defense attorney out of this jurisdiction in LA. I bet you as a defense attorney just hate digital forensics, because I bet you money that this witness who's getting arrested because she refuses to testify in front of the D4VD, David Anthony Burke grand jury, I bet they've got her every which way but upside down.
Y'all hear that? She says she bets that this witness that is refusing to testify in the grand jury, they have her upside down. What would be some of the reasons somebody would refuse to testify? That is the question. How would you? Why would you? What would you be scared of? Is there any protection? Would she be offered immunity? And we know it's a female. The only thing I can assume is that somebody's very close, very young. I'm thinking it's somebody very young, very close, and just worried and scared about what could happen. That's what I'm thinking. Somebody in the entourage, very worried and scared.
With digital forensics showing. Philip, what about it?
Yeah, it is just that. It's a digital footprint. It puts her there. Nobody goes anywhere without their phone. It's like a woman's purse. You don't let it out of your sight. So no grand juror, let alone a trial juror, is going to buy the fact that the phone wasn't on her. And yeah, the girl must be terrified. She's petrified for a couple of reasons. Number one, she doesn't want to get arrested. She doesn't want to get implicated. And she doesn't know immunity from apple butter. She doesn't even know the right lingo to use.
She's got a lawyer. Yes, she does.
Well, okay, then hopefully that lawyer is in fact invoking.
She got a lawyer. Yes, she does. I got to learn how to be like, I swear, I have to be able to enter I have to channel that inner Nancy Grace. I haven't figured that out. Typically I'm the kind of person that I'm very passive. And I let things kind of pass by. And then somehow in the back of my mind, there's like this inventory book. And then I'm like, bam. So I gotta do a little bit better. I don't know.
Her rights so that nothing criminally happens. Now, the question I think that the grand jury will have is whether or not other people were involved in the crime.
Wait, viral beats. Who is the babe in the bottom right corner? She's a smoke show. You know what? Don't even let that get to my head, because I might start walking around with a wig. Okay? Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Joe, thank you so much for the super sticker. I'm proud of the way you stick up for yourself, girl. You know what, Joe? We got to do what we got to do. We should all be able to stick up for each other. But like I said, I got to be able to, channel my Nancy Grace sometimes. I'm just one of those that it's like, I'm not as like, I can be sharp when I'm pissed off, like Nancy is, or like when, very aggressive. She's very performative. You know what I mean? But to me, I'm that person that like, it tends to build up after time. And then I'm like, oh, I'm coming for you. And I'm going to I'll just annihilate you verbally. And that's what I'm going to do. But it's a buildup. For her, she just does it. And I love it. I wish I was like that, but it takes me time.
Hey guys, Nancy Grace here. Please join us on Crime.
Okay, let me, y'all go check out Nancy Grace. Shout out to her.
To shut their pie hole.
They believe that they're releasing too much information and that this is going to affect the case, affect the specific details, whether or not she was actually completely dismembered, whether she was decapitated or not. They don't want any of this information out there because this would be showing the people that are involved what they have, and they don't want the public knowing and getting involved in all of this. But the medical examiner's office has been talking. So there are conflicting stories out there. Was she dismembered? Was she frozen? Was she decapitated? Each side is trying to keep the wraps on this, but the LAPD is very mad that these details are coming out.
I'm not surprised. I wonder if the potential witness was directly involved in the murder, like a participant. Yo, that's a good question too. Like, we don't know what she's a witness to, right? Like, we just know that it might have been somebody, in the entourage and whatnot. Yeah, but very, very likely. What if? What was she directly involved with and whatnot? Why would a witness want to take a fifth unless they are protecting themselves or the suspect, right? Miss Melly, I'm thinking in my mind too that like, if you're a witness, right? I'm thinking that they've offered you immunity, especially if there's something that happened or you participated in it. There might have been an offer of immunity one way or another. I don't know. It's a lot. You said if you say it, got threatened, would you? If you saw it and got threatened, would you speak? If you saw it, got threatened, you mean in the D4VD situation? If you saw it, got threatened, would you speak? Some people don't speak after threats. I mean, that's why witnesses and victims get threatened all the time and they don't speak. They stay silent. If it's a co-conspirator, then the suspect may be charged with conspiracy, which is possibly the state's best chance to get this conviction right now, right? Nancy is very quick-witted and aggressive. I love her. Listen, I said I got this love and hate situation with Nancy, but I will say sometimes when it comes to just, not holding back, it's good to just have somebody like that. It's literally your right to take the fifth. That's not an admission to anything, right? Just trolling. But how many of you guys, and you see this a lot, if you follow true crime, how many of you guys, and this is a thing, right? Where if somebody doesn't speak out, or at least you're in that mindset of if you have nothing to hide, then you would speak out. I understand that mindset, right? You cooperate, you do what you got to do, you speak out. If you got nothing to hide, you would speak out. But sometimes if you take the fifth and you're basically not wanting to admit anything, the social media world immediately looks at that as a form of guilt.
Joining me, Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, that's Fort Worth. He is the esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU and the star of a hit podcast, Mayhem in the Morgue. Dr. Kendall Crowns, thank you for being with us. There's a lot made of whether Celeste Rivas was frozen.
Oh,
okay.
God.
We know from just common sense.
See, I didn't even
Let's
get into
see the Tesla.
I didn't even get into this, but now I'm kind of curious to know what this guy has to say.
belonging to David Anthony Burke, D4VD, sitting in the impound lot. It sat there for days, Dr. Kendall Crowns, from our friends at KTLA. Now, given that amount of time, plus the amount of time it sat out on the sidewalk, it sat out on the sidewalk on the street in that ritzy neighborhood, millionaire mansions, for days and days, being shuttled from one spot to the next. So Dr. Kendall Crowns, by the time her body was found in the car, in the impound lot, she had been dead for days and days and days, decomposing in a trunk. Given that fact scenario, which we know to be true, Dr. Kendall Crowns, could you still tell whether she had ever been frozen? I accept what the LAPD says. She was not frozen or partially frozen at the time she was found. That photo we're showing you of the Tesla with her body in it there at the impound is from our friends at KTLA. But could you, as a medical examiner, look at her body tissues under a microscope and tell if she ever had been frozen?
So,
oh my God, it's like the longest question. Just ask it already. It's like a very long question. Thank you so much. You said, Nancy's fiance was murdered. I think that's part of her story, right? That she talks about that. So that's why she became a prosecutor, and it really fired her up. And I mean, sometimes that happens where, a really tragic situation happens and that fires you up to become something in your life and your career. You said, oh, see, there's people that think that the guilty plead the fifth, but I guess I don't know. What do y'all think? To me, the way I see it is that if you're given immunity, okay, and I would take the immunity, right? And then testify. Not show up to court. Like that's concerning. You said I wouldn't offer immunity if I know they were directly involved. There you go. So we can also assume that anybody was hanging out with this lowlife probably doesn't have the highest integrity. Well, everybody, I just don't know if everybody was well aware about what was going on. It does make you wonder, like, did his family really know? But we see these pictures and it's like, wow, damn, they hung out. I mean, her family too. Like, clearly her family knew that she was dating. She had a boyfriend named David, You said they could tell if cells have been frozen. All right, well, let's get to his answer.
when bodies freeze, you can actually get formation of ice crystals, and the body becomes hard as a rock because the majority of our tissues are made up of water. So if you get below freezing, the body becomes an ice cube. But once it thaws out, there's really no changes that happen if the freezing occurred after death that you can look at and go, this body was frozen, unless there's still ice crystals in the heart or in any other blood vascular areas. Other than that, there'd be no way to tell if she was frozen and then thawed out and then, dumped. But if she had been alive and frozen, there are changes there, but not after death.
Trying to digest what you just said. I believe you said if she was totally thawed out, which obviously she was, there's no way to tell if she ever was frozen.
Correct.
Oh.
Okay.
You don't get...
Y'all hear that? Interesting.
Freezer burn.
A lot has been made. Got it. A lot has been made as to whether she was decapitated. But Dr. Kendall Crowns, no one is opposing the fact that she was dismembered. Typically, when I've had a case where a body was dismembered, the hands and the head are cut off to avoid identification. In this case, if she was that decomposed, how would the identification have been made?
Oh.
So if they dismembered her to try and get rid of evidence of identification, like you said, of course, the hands with the fingerprints, the head is for facial identification, but you can't get rid of the DNA. Even if you drain the body completely of its blood, you can still get blood smears from the spleen or the muscle or things of that nature. And then you take that DNA from those organs, and then you do a comparison with the family, and you can still identify the person, whether there's a head or hands or not. Even if it was just a section of the leg, like they only found a foot, you could still do a swab of the tissues in that area, usually musculature, and get a DNA sample to do a comparison with known family members.
Dr. Kendall Crowns, isn't it true that even if a body is dried out, almost mummified,
oh my God,
you could get DNA from bone marrow or from the inside of a tooth, or you could take a body part such as the liver, blend it, liquefy it.
Oh, I don't want to hear this. I'm like, yo, I didn't go to school for any of that. That's why I'm like, I don't want to hear that. The First Liberties podcast has ooh, let me lighten the things up a little bit. Cause I'm like, oh, it just like, oh, this is the part where I'm like, Nancy, I get it, but can you just, there's a better way to ask this. You know what I mean? I can't do it all the time. First Liberties podcast says that, that bald guy definitely looks like he worked in a morgue. Somebody in my comments when we were doing commentary the last time when this guy was up, they said that he's got the eyes of somebody that worked at a morgue. I'm like, oh Lord, don't say that. I'm trying to get past through this. Okay, let's just hurry up.
And get DNA from that?
Yes, that's correct. All those are scenarios in which an individual has gotten to the point that they're mummified or dried out. You can still get DNA from them. Bone marrow is a great one because the femur or the big bone in your...
I just hate, like, we're talking about this, but then you're posting pictures of her as a child. And it's like there's this disconnection between the verbal content to the person that we're actually speaking to. Do you know what I mean? Like this is she was only 14, you know? So that's why I struggle with it. That's why I'm struggling with it. Not you guys. But I struggle with, there's better ways to do this. Maybe not show her pictures.
Thigh still has plenty of bone marrow in the ribs as well. The teeth, what you're talking about is the pulp of the teeth is still it can be present for a long period of time. It's a good source for DNA. And then finally, blending up the tissue. We usually use the spleen because it's so vascular, you can get a lot of blood from it, even in a mummified state. But you can use the liver or other organs if they're more intact.
That photo we're showing you of the Tesla with her body in it there at the impound is from our friends at KTLA. And Dr. Kendall Crowns, a lot has been made that the LAPD and the medical examiner's office is at war. The medical examiners, all medical doctors like yourself, do not take kindly to the PD telling them to shut the hay up. But the truth is, Dr. Kendall Crowns, we don't know if these leaks have come from the medical examiner's office. Isn't it true? Medical examiners in large metropolitan areas have a fleet of their own investigators. Atlanta did. In fact, some of the best investigators I ever knew were from the medical examiner's office. A leak could come from a medical examiner investigator. It could come from somebody making copies of documents. It could come from someone within the LAPD about the medical examiner's reports. And therefore, people think the leak is coming from the medical examiner's office. There's really no way to identify who's leaking. But the medical examiner's office is the one that's being spanked.
That's correct. I mean, the medical examiner's offices usually have their own set of death investigators so they can do an unbiased death investigation and not rely on police information to determine cause and manner of death. But usually big offices have upwards of over 100 people. And big cases like this, that information people can talk about it, the death investigators, the autopsy technicians, the doctors themselves, and information can get out in the public. But you're correct. The police also can be guilty of leaking this information because they get the file as well. And they're another large organization with multiple people and people talk, and this information gets out there. That's the problem with high profile cases, is they always create high profile problems because so many people want to know the information, and people love to talk about, oh, guess what I saw at work today. So you have to be very careful in these situations about what you say to whom, and you have to keep your mouth shut. And if the police is telling the medical examiner's office to shut up, well, you got to do what you're told, and you got to work as a team because they have to do their investigation. And if we leak information, it can actually color and bias the entire investigation. And
so he sees it from the perspective of, like, you know, the medical examiner in California sees it as like, you know, we want transparency. But this guy who's also, you know, clearly a medical examiner as well, he sees it from the side of, like, you have to be able to cooperate and work together. I also feel like there's been this, like, emphasis for us to focus on this relationship that could very well be strained and everything, but I don't know, is okay.
Cause a lot of problems.
Philip Dubé, high-profile lawyer, loose lips sink ships. Just like that witness, the record exec goes out in the hall and starts whining. Someone could have been having a beer and somebody overhears what they said, talking about, hey, guess what happened at the medical examiner's office today? Guess what I read in this report that I copied? It could be anybody that's blabbing. It doesn't have to be a paid informant. It doesn't have to be official. Anyone could be leaking this information.
Of course, and that's usually how it happens. We see it in the coroner's office, we've seen it in the DA's office, and frankly, we've even seen it in the public defender's office over the years, where somebody sort of casually mentions something, and before you know it, it becomes, you know, like this big, huge story, and it takes on a life of its own. And then before you know it, it's taken out of proportion.
Philip?
Yes.
Remember Koberger?
Yes.
Somebody
Sure
blabbed And suddenly it was a Dateline special.
I know. And the court opened up a special.
Yeah, shout out to BJ. She says, please not the Rabbit Nancy hairdo. You know what, Joe? That's a great question. Why aren't these children's parents ever prosecuted? I'm telling you, start holding the parents accountable for the things that are happening, man. It just, people start changing the way they do stuff. It's their job to protect their children. I agree. BJ does not like the Nancy hairdo. Just trying to bring a little bit of like lightness to the situation. This is such a heavy topic.
Investigation, they were going to get to the bottom of it. And I think the only reason why they let it go is twofold. Number one, he pled, so the case was over. But number two, I think under Idaho law, even if you do get to the bottom of it, it was only a misdemeanor. To invest all this money in a misdemeanor, it just wasn't cost effective.
I don't know why you keep saying that. It's not your end sitting in jail.
Ooh. Hold up.
An arrest to go down.
Commercial. All right, hold up. Let's skip over here. Hold up. You said, side note, Rabbit would look fabulous as a blonde. Unsurprisingly, she can pull off a lot of things. I used to have a lot of blonde highlights. It's been a couple years that I've done the blonde, but yeah, but not full blonde. Like I was doing a lot of blonde highlights, and then I took a break from messing with the hair. Because after a while, it just gets exhausting to keep up. You said she can pull off anything, even the Nancy ugly hair. I asked the people if they would unsubscribe for me if I kept what was the word? If I did the Nancy Grace hairstyle. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, BJ. Shout out to BJ. Thank you. He said there are some very serious due process concerns that would come with blaming parents. The way people are asking. Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. All right, let me go ahead and keep going.
Let me follow up on what private investigator Rob Dick said. Afraid it's going to happen to her? Well, you know what? She wasn't afraid to go along for the ride to, for instance, live in the mansion, be on the dole, eat out at fancy restaurants, go to concerts. Afraid of what?
You know, Nancy, she's complicit in some way. When witnesses do not want to come forward, it's usually because they have played a role in the crime. Maybe it's just a silent witness, right? Maybe it's just somebody watching Celeste being abused, but she saw something. And, you know, the term House of Horrors, we're talking about homicide here. We're talking about a dismembered body in a frunk. But what we're not talking about is the House of Horrors. What was going on in that household up to this homicide and this?
I don't think I ever imagined the House of Horrors being something that would have fit this situation. But then again, I don't know. Flojo, thank you so much for this. Congrats on the Streamer of the Year. Yes, thank you, BJ. Shout out to BJ again. Thank you, Flojo, as well. Shout out to everybody that supported today. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. I don't understand the House of Horrors. Like, well, I guess I'm struggling with that, but okay.
Dismemberment. Were women being used as? Were women being dominated? Were some women dominating other women? Were people using drugs together?
Are there more than one person besides Celeste?
People watching sadistic together and then, you know, hurting each other. We don't know what was happening in that house. And I think that's going to be really important for us to uncover as this trial moves forward.
So in other words, Dr. Bethany, another person stands by and watches what's happening to Celeste and does nothing. Let me remind everybody, Celeste was just 13 years old when this whole thing cranked up with David Anthony Burke. She's dead, dismembered, turning into nothing but goo.
Oh, God.
And someone doesn't want to testify? Really? Someone that potentially stood by and watched all this happen and did nothing? That person, Bethany?
You know, Nancy, I'm a mandated reporter as a marriage, family, and child counselor and as a psychoanalyst. If I see something that's being done to a minor or to a child, I have to report that. I don't have to investigate it. I just report the suspicion.
Yeah, but that's because you're a mandated reporter. But then we just learned about California law. Like, that's crazy, but okay.
Something is happening. We have all these people in that household seeing, I'm sure, pretty terrible things going on. And not one person is calling the police. Not one person is calling 911. Not one person is talking to Celeste. What about her parents? Did any of these witnesses call her parents? No.
I agree with that statement. Here's the deal, though. I don't think she passed away in this house. You know the big house, right? The one that was not under D4VD's name. I feel like it was somewhere else. But think about the time that they actually spent collecting information, or whatever they collected with that search warrant. I feel like if she had passed away in that house or something happened to her, they would have been blocked and reviewed that house. If we're talking about a house of horrors, right? The way this lady is describing it, they would have probably have been there and spent a significant amount of time. They really didn't. They really didn't. I don't know. What do y'all think? You said the way I see it is the only way you're not cooperating if you're having, if you have some kind of involvement. Right. Right. I said, I still have not heard anything about the house. Yeah, what about the house that they were streaming in, which was like totally different than the other house? So I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. Like I hear what she's saying, but she's almost making it sound like this was a house of horrors, like this was everybody, and this for what we know. Even though it's been said that there might be others, we only know of one victim. We don't know of anybody else. So I'm not really understanding this part of her thought, but okay. Ronan, thank you so much again for the $5. Vote for Rabs. Thank you. Hold up now. Hold up.
Everybody is just standing by silent.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Ugh.
That female prosecutor knows you, your name, your DOB, your SSN, social security number, your address, your mama's name, your brother's name, your boyfriend's name, your tag number. Go ahead, go in, go under oath, and tell the truth. A little girl is dead.
Yeah.
And you're refusing to testify. And you know another thing? To D4VD, David Anthony Burke's manager, shame on you.
Ooh.
You actually said out in the courthouse hall that you didn't have any duty to call and report a dead girl in a trunk. All you wanted to do was continue with the tour. You know what? Pontius Pilate, just washing your hands and looking the other way. It ain't working this time. If you know or think you know anything about the brutal death of this little girl, Celeste Rivas, please call LAPD 213-486-6890. There will be justice in this case. 213-486-6890.
I will say that I appreciate that she put the number up there if anybody has information. As intense as Nancy could get, but I agree and I understand. I appreciate that she put this number out here.
You can either get involved, be a part of the solution, or you can stand back and do nothing and be part of the problem.
Ooh.
Tonight, we remember an American hero, Officer Hastings.
Thoughts? No one is going to call. Well, I mean, I think that that's directly to the homicide division. I don't think it's directly to her. He said, better be justice for this case. I hope so too. Yeah, the awards are already over, but thank you, Mama Bear. Thank you. I don't understand when it's a child, right? Like, and the way that the law is written in California again. So when the manager said, I didn't report it. I just want to get on with the tour in California. For private citizens, and shout out to Vicky because my mod pointed this out. Private citizens in California are not legally obligated to report crimes that they've observed. Even if they're like serious crimes like murder. They could have observed somebody get murdered, whatever. They don't have to report it. They don't. Failing to call law enforcement or notifying authorities doesn't automatically make you criminally liable under California law. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, which would be mandated reporters. But mandated reporters specifically would be like, were they hanging out around mandated reporters? Probably not, right? Like your teachers, your coaches, your healthcare workers. That just how the law is written. Murder cases have been won solely on circumstantial evidence. So there would be no excuse if they don't charge him and take this to trial. I would be livid. I hear you, love. I hear you. The system is so gross. We have injustice system. Nobody was arrested. I think that they've put out a body attachment to get a witness arrested. I don't want to call him D4VD anymore. Okay, I'll call him David. Whatever he allegedly has done as a man, not as a public figure, says Kristen. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. You said Nancy's an OG, love her attitude and her southern accent. Hi, people, everybody, you either love her or you hate her. Like some of a weird witchcraft stuff. Okay. Some House of Horrors to a parent is maybe a stranger giving drugs or exposing him or her child to gore, right? That was pretty intense on the House of Horror commentary, because I don't know what they mean by that, to be quite honest. So I want to do this. I'm not going to give commentary right now. I'll probably do it in a separate pre-recorded video so you guys hang out. Well, I got to do the recording of it. I want to talk about this one right here because the Two Disgruntled Angry Men podcast thing, they actually did it. And they I guess people are telling me that I got to watch it. There's so much more to this. And so I got to watch it and I'll react to it. I've not watched it yet, but we'll definitely watch it. I just can't do it right now because I only have about an hour to do a live. Y'all, what do you guys think? Attorney the Stars, stop snitching on yourself. Oh. You said look at Bert and Ernie. Oh my God, stop. You said, looking at the comments, I love how you call it something different every time it kills me. I can't keep up. I think that's what we said. I think Nancy's means well. Nice Nancy here. You like my hair? Well, see, if I come back after the holidays and I say I'm going to do the Nancy, I just want to know if you guys are going to unsubscribe to me. I might lose support over it. That's why I want to know. Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right, guys. Well, shout out to everybody. I really, really appreciate everybody that joined me today. Thank you so much. Again, Ronan, thank you. Thank you. Five Divine, thank you. Ronan again, thank you. Joe, thank you. Flo, Joe. Thank you. And last Ronan, thank you. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to start recording a reaction video. You say you're going to, come on, Lexi. Lexi say I'm going to unsub if you do the Nancy hair. Come on, Lexi. So I think I look good in blonde. Can really pull it off. But that first picture was kind of creepy that I did. I didn't like that picture. The one that I first pulled up. Nancy wants justice, and she just fought for it all her life. And the victims that I love watching. It's okay. Y'all can love Nancy. And please, no, don't take me putting this up here. I just, it's just, I like making fun. That's all. You said keep your hair how it is. All right. How much did I miss? YT ain't showing that no more. Oof. Well, I will let you guys go. Y'all are amazing. I hope you guys are having a great December the 13th. The holidays are hitting very hard. I didn't know, by the way, before you guys go, I didn't know that Peter Green had passed away. Side note. Do y'all remember Peter Green? I remember Peter Green from, was it The Mask? And what was the other one? Pulp Fiction. People are looking into the death of Peter Green as well. For those that don't know, this is Peter Green. He was found dead. He was only 60 years old, y'all. Very young still. Like, what? Okay. Y'all remember? I mean, he had like the gorgeous eyes. I don't know. People are saying different things and whatnot about Peter Green and his death. I didn't even see people talk about it yesterday. I think it happened last night. I found out about it today. That's why I knew. And then, of course, we heard the news of Abraham Quintanilla passing away this morning, too. So we go keep an eye. I mean, I want to see what develops out of here. Yes, he was Zed in Pulp Fiction. That's right. Yeah, I saw about Andy Dick, too. There's so much going on, y'all. There's too much. I will let you guys go. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.